everybody, welcome to Parkies Life. Today we're on the Rio Grande out here in southern Colorado. Today I think we're going to do a segment on managerial skills, some tips that will help new seasonal managers, seasoned seasonal managers. They're built around food and beverage, but they can be used anywhere on these processes right here. The tips are about 5 or 6 in length right there. Good managers do many more things than 5 or 6 things correctly. They do multiple things correctly. So please don't think this is the end-all be-all of how you manage. A couple things that you want to start the season out with, use them throughout the season. And I think you'll find out that the stress level on your job will go way down because we all know as seasonal managers, it's like a grand opening every 6 months. You got to do the same thing again, but just with different people. So once again, welcome to a Parkies Life. Hang tight. Okay, the first thing we recommend is that you know your own job description. So basically, as a restaurant manager, are you familiar with the POS system, front and back, how to program and how to change things? Did you get your scheduling down correctly? Big deal. Yeah, people get really upset if you don't schedule correctly. Payroll. Have you got your payroll situation down and locked tight so everybody's getting paid? Do you know the alarm codes in and out, your hours of operation, how to fix your credit card system should it go down? So these are the things that you want to consider as you know your own job. Once you know your own job, people, as in your staff, will start believing the fact that you can train them in their job. And that's what you want them to believe. You want them to have the belief that you know what you're doing, and if you start with that, it goes a long way from there. Okay, next is leading by example. Leading by example is very crucial because it builds trust and respect. Trust is the beginning to respect, and basically what we sometimes mean like this by lead by example, a perfect example of this actually is when you're training your new staff. Let's say that your line staff, you gotta have bathrooms. You gotta have clean bathrooms in a restaurant. You take them in there. That means you have actually cleaned the bathroom and you know what you're expecting. Putting the gloves on, doing the sinks first, doing the toilets next, taking out the trash, making the floors acceptable. Show them how to do this, especially for a lot of your international students that are coming in. A lot of them never had to actually work or been taught how to do this right here. So it's the best way to go about it. And like I say, you're also showing that, hey, you're willing to clean a bathroom. And it goes a long way. But most importantly, leading by example is being on time for every shift. You can't be coming in 15 minutes late as a manager, 5 minutes late, looking for your coffee and stuff like that. No. All right. We also got be consistent. This one's probably the hardest one to do. Consistency kills restaurants across the board. Service, food, ownership, management. Consistency is really hard to attain. So strive to be consistent. Have no favorites on your staff. Try to treat everybody as just as possible. When we talk about just, we're talking about as fair as possible. You can't always be fair 100% of the time in a restaurant situation, but you can make it up down the road. So just is a long-term situation that you want to, just is a long-term situation that you wish to achieve. Have no superstars. Don't rely on one person or 2 people to cover for the other 4 or 5 people on the shift. That causes long-term, that causes short-term problems where people start getting frustrated. So everybody is responsible for their own duties across the board, and be consistent when you speak with them about how well they're doing their job. You got to tell them, and where they need to improve. Take your ego out of it. It's always a training tool, but be consistent. It's a bigger training tool for you than it is for them. Trust me on that. Okay, the other one is know your staff. They can be quite large sometimes, especially if you work for a larger corporation. You can have upwards of 30, 40 staff. Do your best to know your staff and listen to your staff. And when you listen to your staff, you have to hear your staff. If you're not hearing what your staff are saying, you're going to miss the point of the conversation. So have empathy for the working conditions that your staff have. They're living in shared housing. Have empathy for that. The weather, they're not used to that. So have empathy about that, but still you have to let them know at the same time that there are standards to be maintained. So when you're understanding your staff, when you're talking to your staff, always have the long-term greater goal in good. Remember, when the staff is having a successful season, you'll have a successful season as well. So listen to your staff, hear your staff. Let's see if this comes back on. Last one is going to be realistic with the season and what you think is going to happen. Be realistic with the goals and what you can actually achieve. Being realistic when you first talk to your staff takes a lot of stress off the situation, and they know that something they're doing can be attained and can be completed. So that gives them a sense of fulfillment, and that way you're also always having a moment for just a little better increment of improvement once you hit your goals. Aim just a touch under where you really want to be, get to the 85%, and then incrementally get up to 100% to where you would like to be. If you can be somewhere in the 90 percentile range, you're having a really good season. So yeah, keep it simple when you do that. Keeping it simple is for you, the manager, because you're the last S in that one. So thank you. Thank you for coming in. This has been a Parkies Life. We're here on the Rio Grande. We are in Southern Colorado talking about managerial styles, things that you can implement into your system. Much like a river, the seasonal work is always changing. So remember, folks, humanism over nationalism. Treat everybody the same. All right, take it easy, peace, and we'll see you next time in the Parkies Life.